Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to a segment of heart activation called Astro Tarot. In this, I dive through the astrology of what's going on and helping you to understand astrology more, helping you to understand how astrology is affecting us at an individual level and at a collective level. I use tarot and oracle cards along with the archetypes and symbols to be able to present to you how we can connect the outside world to our inner world. As we dive deep into this, you learn how to use these symbols, colors, and numbers as the way that the universe, spirit, God, whomever you'd like to call it, an amazing force outside of us is able to guide us to the internal self. So each of these videos goes through a teaching of the astrology that is going on, and also teachings through the archetypes of the tarot and oracle cards, along with chakras, numbers, colors. It's really a very beautiful thing. So I hope that you enjoy this process and that you are able to look internally and be able to take what you need and leave the rest, as each of these are general readings for the collective. They will not resonate with everyone. And this is really, you can listen to them at any time and really just gain a lot of learning about all of the archetypes through astrology, through the tarot and oracle cards. So if you are new to my channel, thank you so much for tuning in. I would appreciate and totally love it if you hit the subscribe button, and if you would feel guided to also interact, like, share, comment. Any interactions with my channel helps for the channel to get to where it needs to go on the algorithm. So again, thank you so much for being here, and let's get to it. Full moon in Pisces on August 30th. There is actually a lot of different energies that are happening at this time that will be influencing the rest of the week. They're actually more, it's such an ebb and flow energy. Let's get into it. Okay, so August 30th brings us the Pisces full moon, which is actually a blue moon. So you know the term once in a blue moon, where that gives the energy of, oh, it doesn't happen very often. So what a blue moon is when a calendar month has two full moons. And so this month we started off with, let's take a look. This month we started off with a full moon, and then we had a new moon, and now we are coming back on another full moon. So I'm just looking to, let's take a look. So we had the new moon in Leo, which was the 16th of August, and then we had the full moon in Aquarius, which was on the 1st of August. While looking back at those energies, it's always great to look in hindsight and to see, this is how we create patterns. We see like how the energies interacted with us and what we have learned from them, and how we can use this insight to move forward and to use the patterns as a tool. So that's like how astrology works. It's a matter of seeing the patterns and how they play out and interact with each other. So Pisces, now being a full moon, Pisces is also in connection with Saturn, which it will be playing a big role in this as well. Oh, that is also going on too. So let's start. The blue moon energy is a very, I don't want to say rare, because it happens like once every 18 months. I believe that, I don't know when the last time, I'm not even going to look it up. So the last time that this happened, I do remember, it was about 2 years ago, maybe a little less than 2 years ago. The blue moon brings in energy that really
allows for us to have a release, like a strong release energy, because the full moon is always about completion of cycles, completion of patterns that have come to a full fruition that no longer serve as that no longer serve us for the potential. A lot of times we hold on to things that just continue, that we hold on to because it's familiar, and that's why we can feel the same loops. That's why we can feel the same energy looping through, is because they no longer serve us, and we're still holding on to it because it's comfortable. And that's okay too, because sometimes even wanting to be where you are, not wanting to be where you are also creates a loop as well. That's just really, that can be paradoxical, and that's also okay. In that, allowing for whatever is being released to just be released. And Pisces gives the energy of escapism. Pisces is a sign that is very deeply connected to the divine. It sees things at a deep and ethereal perspective. Pisces is the sign of cosmic connection, a universal love. So people who have Pisces placements or strong Pisces placements tend to be like, when I think of Pisces energy, I think of the mystic, the one that just gets swept away in their feelings, the ones that allow for like a tortured artist type of energy, one that feels so deeply and that is so connected that they're not able to connect to the material world. The mystic is one that has a very grand connection with the divine, and that is a beneficial thing. And also it can be a detrimental thing if we run away from the material world so much that we become addicted to a spiritual lens, or we don't want to be a part of society. We don't want to be, we see things as hurtful and painful, and everything seems, you see the hurt within everything, and so you stay away. But you also, as being a Pisces, you can also see the inherent good in everything too, because Pisces is a sign that really doesn't know boundaries. So this dissolves any of the, Pisces dissolves any of the boundaries that are there between, like it might be rose-colored lenses, seeing things through, or people, seeing situations or people through a distorted lens, whether that being a rose-colored lenses, so seeing things with a very optimistic eye, or seeing things with a very detrimental and hurtful eye. There's always, we learn through the duality of life. And so there's always a continuation of learning the harmony. And that's why balance is not really like a word that I subscribe to, because it's never balanced. It's never 50-50. Balance, it gives the notion of being 50-50. Harmony is when things can be completely not balanced, but yet it works because it's moving towards a general theme and a general goal or vision. So we look for the harmony within seeing things for, like, I see the inherent good in everybody, and I have learned to discern like people's actions, what I see for them versus what they actually do. So discernment is a huge word for Pisces full moon, because we can just want to say fuck the world and go do our own thing and just completely negate everyone else. And that's really, with Pisces placements, it's a huge gift, because not many people are able to tap in as deeply as some Pisces are able to. And then also discerning between what is your activated ego space and what is your truth. So what I mean by activated ego space is what is your hurt or wounded perception. So like our inner child, is this being seen through the lens of a wounded you, or is this being seen through the lens of a sacred you? So the energy that comes through with this is really of I'm hearing releasing what you thought things should be and accepting what it is, what it actually is. And it's just like difficult for everybody, right? Like the denial is also a huge Pisces theme as well. So it can be both. So, okay, I know this about myself, and yet I know that there's still more that I'm not seeing. So this would be along the lines of like dependency or addiction. So dependency or addiction, and I feel that society in general, we're going through this, it's a loop. I don't know why that comes through, but we're going through this loop of like dependencies and seeing the worst in things, seeing every situation as like an obstacle. And what if it's like that and also like a gift? So we see like okay, so I'm a very emotional and feeling being. And also I know that there are things that I haven't quite fully tapped into yet. Not like I am so overwhelmed or I'm too much or this is all too much. It's replace your but with an and. And I feel that's really like a Pisces type of theme, because it can be both sides of, it is both sides of the coin. It is an and instead of a but. I don't even know if that makes sense for you. But, and also it is learning to connect the duality within the whole nature of life. This is the important part. So Saturn is in Pisces right now. What does that mean? I have talked about this in one of the other videos that I had made, and Saturn is the planet of restriction. This wants us to learn where our discernment is. This shows us what isn't our truth. Saturn shows us where we are overly dependent on the ethereal realm, where we are overly dependent on dependencies, where we are living in a fairy tale world. Saturn comes in and shows us where we are illusioned so we can become disillusioned. And Saturn really prefers to just not see things clearly in a shadow aspect. It would rather live with a foggy perspective than to see things for real and take action or aligned action for that. So I don't want to say this is about personal accountability, because a lot of us, the ones that want to get away into the ethereal, it is based on a lot of trauma response. And this allows for people, there is accountable action. And the first way to see that without being like, oh, you need to take responsibility, because it's not about that. It's just a recognizing and an awareness that like, okay, yes, like I have had some very traumatizing experiences or a very traumatizing life, and I now know that there are tools available to help guide me to my inner truth and sovereign being. There's a lot of those. That's the theme. One of the many themes. There will be a sense of sadness and melancholy through this. There will be a lot of truths being revealed through, essentially, I felt relationships. Yeah, it is, because it is not about one-on-one relationships, because being Pisces, being the 11th sign, it is about, like I said, it's the cosmic connection. It's universal love. So this is us seeing humanity us being activated through humanity, through the dark side of humanity. Okay, so let's pull some cards here. There's a lot of layers in there, and I don't really use these cards that much, but I'm super feeling these right now as I'm like standing and looking at these. I have the Mystical Journey Oracle, which is such a Piscean theme, and then Gateway of Light activation, which again, these are, ooh, how fun. These are totally different authors, but yet they have the same. That's really fun. I love that. They're different authors, but yet they have the same markings on the inside of their box. So let's take a look at what type of gateway initiation is happening for us at a humanitarian level and also an individual level. So what will we see at the universal level through this Pisces full moon, and through the Pisces full moon, and also whatever aspects it has with it? So we have, yeah, that's so funny. Emerald Tablet activation, cosmic ordering, divine alchemy, conscious manifesting. Interesting. Okay, so whenever there's something that really stands out to me that happens in my realm, so like in my reality. So R. Kelly was just playing on somebody's motorcycle or whatever as they went through, and R. Kelly, right? So that's so perfect. Honestly, that's so it's so random. Rarely do I ever hear R. Kelly anymore because of all of the scandals and everything with him that has gone on with him enslaving girls. And if you haven't watched I Survived R. Kelly, like, it is a huge, it goes to show how trauma shows up. So R. Kelly, a lot of people are like, oh, he's a fucking monster. And I'm not saying that he's not. He's absolutely had childhood molestation things happen to him. His brother had said so in one of his interviews. And so this is like how that stuff manifests, right? So what we don't wind up facing, we wind up becoming. So, and I don't want to be like, oh, you're going to wind up becoming this, blah, blah. Oh, molester. God, that's so terrible to even think of. But also, and know that there is like that. That is how how it works. What we don't face is what we wind up becoming. So the Pisces energy allows us to really go deep into these aspects. So R. Kelly and the women that he had kept hostage and brainwashed and had done just horrific things to, I do have compassion for him. And also, I know that trauma for these women, that it showed up so differently. You can see the spectrum of how it showed up through the interviews with the women that had survived him. So I do recommend watching that. Mind you, there is trigger. I advise you to watch that, knowing that it will be triggering. Okay, so Emerald Tablet activation, what this is, and it's green, and then also this shows like a Kundalini snake. So that's like a DNA activation where we go through, and it goes through all of our chakras and it releases. A lot of us, what we are going towards is centering from a heart perspective, meaning we want to work from a heart space of unconditional love, freedom, giving, but not like in the sense of giving because I want to feel whole. It's giving because we're abundant beings. And so the compassion, when people make slanders towards people who have been the perpetrator and or been perpetrated again, it is both of the same. Yeah, that is incredibly messed up. So it's, wow, hold on. Okay, so I wanted to pause that from the sirens because Also, that comes into effect here. This is like a really interesting that the sirens were there at that point in time, because it is like very important, like for the people we have felt that have betrayed or perpetrated us. Oh, allow forgiveness. Oh, gosh, and I feel like really your feelings and experiences are completely valid. It is very painful, all of the things. And also in order for liberation, we have to acknowledge those things and acknowledge the depth of pain, while also recognizing that there's more there. Forgiveness isn't for the other person. It is so our being doesn't make choices that hurt us even more. Now, this is really interesting because I didn't see this before, but there's like a cross here as well, which at first I saw it as a sword, but I'm seeing it as a cross here. So now, so when I think of a cross, I think of a crucifixion, taking on everybody else's burdens, right? So taking this on and calling it your own, because it's not your own. You're taking on these person's hurts. You're taking on the collective wounds and calling them your own. When I guess it's like we need to recognize, in order to recognize what is ours and what isn't ours, so discernment again, we need to recognize, or it is very beneficial to recognize our own so we can see what is ours and what isn't ours, and not take on things that are not ours. So I'm going to, the Emerald Tablet activation, conscious manifesting. That's like co-creation, divine alchemy, using your pain for a purpose, cosmic ordering, allowing the balance that we see through our human lens to actually be a divine justice. Light codes are coming through also. I actually want to read this. Okay, the Emerald Tablet is one of the most celebrated of the Hermetic texts, a series of sacred Egyptian Greek texts from the 2nd century or earlier. They come from the basis of Hermeticism, a spiritual tradition that brings together science and spirituality through investigation into the cosmos and mind and nature. Most of the texts are a series of dialogues between a teacher and a student and are based on the concept of alchemy, the art of turning lead into gold, or something that is leaden and heavy into a golden opportunity. The Emerald Tablet is said to have been carved on a bright green stone that was transported to Egypt around the fall of Atlantis and stored in the halls of Amenti under the Great Pyramid. Although this legend is widespread, the origin of the text is shrouded in mystery. We do know that it is made of 14 passages, which first appeared in a book written sometime between the 6th and 8th centuries, and has been highly influential, as above, so below, meaning that what is in the high heavens is reflected upon the earth. The author signs of as Hermes, another name for Thoth, who is featured in this deck, and is thought to have been the priest king of Atlantis. The idea is that he knew of the approaching end of civilization and hid the Emerald Tablet and many other teachings in order to preserve them for spiritual aspirants in the future. Okay, again, so that is like a, take whatever you want from that. Actually, I'm not even going to get into it. So I'm going to pull just a couple other of the Mystical Journey Oracle. Interesting. So how this brought in as above, so below. So I do feel that is what we are, what isn't aligned within is being shown without. What is not true for us, that creates a complete disharmony within us, will be shown in the external realm. Okay, let's get a couple cards here to just give some guidance and also confirmation or clarity. Thank you. So we have inspiration, number 5, which is all about creative energy, and a movement from one situation to the next. So it's like a transitional period. And then we have divine being. Okay, so inspiration here, this is a very muted type of energy, which is fascinating because this is talking about, it's like heavy. So what this feels like to me is those things that are lead or heavy, the dense energies, right? They are muted, they are heavy, and we use them as inspiration to be able to create whatever, writing, reading, poetry, art, drawing, whatever type of creation you want to create. You can use your body, use your beautiful mind and your heart space to have some sort of flow and allow the energy to move through, to connect you to just be able to see the divine being that you are. Now, what is I would like actually a card for guidance here. I mean, this is such a Saturn energy here. Like, it's because it's so controlled, right? So it's so controlled. You have a very specific thing here. You can be creative and you can bring in like the chaos and the flow of all of this stuff into this. Use the muted, heavy, dense energies to create an outlet to connect your human body to the divine being that you are. You create your own reality. What you want wants you to. What do you want to experience? I really love how there is this like gateway here. So this is like as above, so below. So this is like you create your own reality, meaning what I feel is like how you perceive a situation, like how I have perceived my sexual assault as tools and as deep portals and initiations to be able to be here and to be able to gift you guys whatever type of wisdom or insights that I have cultivated through these dark experiences and through the connection to the divine that I gained from having those, to be able to be here and present them to you. I see them as their tools, and I have used them as a way to empower myself, to move myself in a way that is extremely empowering, enlightening. Wow, words are not coming to me, and that's okay because I think you feel it within me being here. I feel, maybe not. Anywho, there is that. Once we begin to shift and use those very painful experiences as a tool to catapult us, we are able to see that we can create from that. And again, I come from such a loving space, and what I talk about are things that I have experienced and gone through and have come out on the other side, per se. So I will leave you with that beautiful guidance, and I am sending infinite amount of love and